Let's talk about it.
Say you don't like the life I live.
Girl, let's talk about it.
Alright, I'm always on the grind.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Always got money on my mind.
Girl, let's talk about it.
Say you don't like this life of mine.
Wanna talk about it.
Yeah, I'm always on the grind.
Let's talk about it.
I gotta shine.
Let's talk about it.
Always got money on my mind.
Girl, let's talk about it.
Say you don't like this life of mine.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, I'm always on the grind.
Girl, let's talk about it.
Yeah, I gotta shine.
Let's talk about it.
Always got money on my mind.
Girl, let's talk about it.
God body. God body. What's up, world? What's going on? Knowledge is the key. You got the goddess Siren in the building. Hey,
Hello. Hi there.
God body. Let's talk about it. Hey, today we're going to talk about breaking invisible barriers and the shackles of the matrix. Is
Yeah.
what we're going to go in. With no further ado,
It has done an amazing job at raising awareness, but a terrible job at promoting growth. Instead of helping people build capacity, it's created a culture where identifying with struggle is more important than overcoming it. We've made it uncomfortable to challenge certain narratives because they're tied to identity, so much so that if you push back, people assume people assume that you just don't understand. But here's what I know. Understanding something doesn't mean you have to live by it. I'm black, so I already know that they're against me. Yes, systemic barriers exist. History is real, but when did your entire existence become a reaction to oppression? When did you stop seeing yourself as someone who builds and instead as someone who is constantly blocked? Strength isn't just about pushing.
I have to stop right there off top. Like,
Yeah.
who in the world told somebody, like, happy day to the world, but who told the world that you had to be oppressed by a race, a gender, a class? Um, who told the world that we had to be oppressed or think about anything when it comes to breaking invisible barriers? There is a reason why you, in particular, popped on the podcast tonight. There, yeah, under normal circumstances, I think this is where we're at in the world. There's a great separation taking place. There's agreeables, there's disagreeables. There are, if these could ever be the days where they said the children would be against the parents, everything you see that was in Revelation is taking place today. So we have to figure out definitely how to break these invisible barriers that have been programmed into the masses of people in the world. Like, man, so many people are down that might lose homes. Nobody knows what'll happen from day to day. Everybody's in a state of fight or flight. However, we are in the perfect, I'm talking about perfect position to, if you start thinking, if we put what we call God first, happy Sunday, happy New Year's to the world. Today, in a lot of places, is the New Year.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of places around the world, today is the New Year. And guess what? The sun is starting to shine harder. The plants are starting to grow. A lot of growth. Right now is the perfect time to change. Hey, if you've been thinking about a parasite cleanse, a detox,
Yeah.
anything you could do to break a barrier, today is the day to begin that.
Right.
Today is the day, and start in increments. If you feel like, hey, I eat this way, I can't change and just start eating another way. Try things in increments. Just
Yeah.
get there. We're not all in the same place. That's okay. But you, like I said, you have some people that are spiritual people nowadays. Some people are religious people. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter which side you think on. Hey, at
Right.
the end of the day, all of the different subscriptions that have been thrown to people represent pretty much the same thing. They have
Right.
the same ideals.
Right. It's
Um,
all
if
rooted
you,
in love. Right.
for
It's
real,
love.
for
If
real,
you can love you at your most broken, if you can love you at your messiest, at your angriest or crankiest, if you can love you through that, then you deserve to love yourself through the bright moments, through when you're really firing on all cylinders, when um, everybody else loves you too. You know what I mean? If you can love yourself through that and teach others the same, right? It's all rooted in love. If we are intolerant and resistant to who we are, we don't ever get to experience authenticity, genuine energy. And that's the highest frequency you can emit. I am who I am. And I
That's
love
the
me.
highest frequency. That is the highest frequency you can emit. And in this world, um, there is a lot of, if you become the greatest version of yourself, people might think you're being too cocky. Somebody is gonna always have
That's
a
the system,
problem
though.
with who
That's the
with
system. And what
it
she
is.
said in
It
the
is the
video, and I
system.
couldn't agree more. You have to acknowledge it. You don't have to keep breathing life into it. The system
There
is
we
what the
go.
matrix is what it is. It doesn't control my heart. It doesn't dampen my ability to love. All it does is give me further cause. If you could love the most heinous things on this planet, I would argue if the most heinous people that have committed the most destructive, horrible acts had been loved more, those acts would never have happened. Those acts would never have happened. Those horrendous things would never have occurred. And we wouldn't be here to speak about them. What we speak about those things should be, had there been more love, we'd be in a different situation. We wouldn't have experienced the hardship that we've experienced in life. Had there been more love, we wouldn't have been wounded by so many if there had been more love. So that's what I'm going to do, is focus my energy and attention on how do I create more of what was lacking in my environment. Love, right? How do I love the unlovable? If I can fathom loving my oppressor, I don't have to like him or her or them or it. I don't have to like them. I can love that they were in my orbit to teach me something, and then I can let it go. And I can be the opposite of that. Thank you for the perspective of how not to be. I'll be love then. I'll be love. Even if
And
it challenges,
yeah.
I'll be love.
And at this point, I think that is a must. That is a must on so many different levels because you have celebrities like, say, P. Diddy. Right now, what they call my community is on an onslaught right now. You have P. Diddy in prison. Mo3 is the artist in Dallas that was gunned down 5 years ago, who they arrested another artist for his murder. Meanwhile, somebody from a car wash, he's a artist in Fort Worth, he gets killed with his daughter, with his 5-year-old daughter in a car. And all of these things, you know, are somewhat. So there's a lot of people that are more focused on that. But meanwhile, there's agendas taking place behind the scenes that it's obvious that would make this only a distraction or a piece of salt in the grain to what's really taking place all over the world. Like I see people talking to themselves, people halfway going crazy, but however, they focused on things they kind of not saying shouldn't be focused on, but
No, the
if
distractions are working and they're planted.
the distractions are working.
They're absolutely working. Everything that the powers that be controlling the matrix, the machine that is siphoning our energy, right? If we go into the actual matrix narrative, there is someone at the helm of the ship, right? Someone, right? There is a force, right? And the forces that we're battling are each other, so that force can continue to operate in a cloaked manner in the shadows. You know what? I know what's in my shadows. And that's all I can be accountable for, is what's in my shadows. And I know there are shadows that could overtake me and my light if I were to focus on those shadows. And I'm going
Mm,
to acknowledge that they're there, and then also envision an environment where those shadows are illuminated and everything that lives in them is no longer allowed to operate in silence and no longer allowed to pit us against each other, because we are all one. I am the me, we is the me. You know what I mean?
wow,
and
wow,
until we can love ourselves and each other in that fashion, as I am the we and the we is the me, then they win. The shadows continue. And I'm so excited to build the light within me to help others learn how to build the light within themselves so that we can illuminate those shadows.
I mean,
Because
there's so many stars. There's so many stars in the sky. Those stars help shine light on other stars. There's no reason to want to dim someone else's light to help your light shine. There's enough light for every single person
we
in the
need
world.
every one of them. We need
Hey,
every
it's square
shine
business,
brightest.
and it's not limited. It's not limited to anything. Like it took me the longest to realize this because I always thought that hey, let's get back to the video. This is an important part of what we're gonna break down. This is
It has done an amazing job at raising awareness, but a terrible job at promoting growth. Instead of helping people build capacity, it's created a culture where identifying with struggle is more important than overcoming it. We've made it uncomfortable to challenge certain narratives because they're tied to identity, so much so that if you push back, people assume people assume that you just don't understand. But here's what I know. Understanding something doesn't mean you have to live by it. I'm black, so I already know that they're against me. Yes, systemic barriers exist. History is real, but when did your entire existence become a reaction to oppression? When did you stop seeing yourself as someone who builds and instead as someone who is constantly blocked? Strength isn't just about pushing through, it's about refusing to let obstacles define what's possible for you. I could say that I'm a woman, right? As a woman, you have to work twice as hard. You're expected to do all of the things, but does that mean that you accept exhaustion as a personality trait? Who told you that proving your worth had to come through suffering? Strength isn't about constantly overcompensating. It's about knowing when to stop performing and start demanding. As a trauma survivor, maybe you say, I can't handle negativity. Healing isn't about removing every trigger. It's about building the capacity to navigate life without crumbling. If you only feel safe in controlled environments, you haven't healed. You've just rearranged the world to avoid discomfort. And that's not resilience and or strength. That's avoidance dressed up as self-care. We have confused acknowledgement with attachment, thinking that naming our struggles means that we have to live in them forever. The goal of mental health should never be to keep you fragile. It should be to make you stronger. The mental health industry.
man. Did you God body, God
Profound.
God body? It is not to give it a label. I'm a gangster. I'm if you a gangster, man, Yellow Beezy. It's not the Cloud Chase bro's name. Man, if I could talk to him, I would say, tell your story so no one else tells your story.
Ah,
Um, like in the world, we all have a story. We are all living a book. You are a co-star right now to the book of knowledge is key. I'm a co-star to Siren's story. This is how we have to start looking at things. We are brought up in a world where people look at everything from a perverted tent. Um, they tell you, hey, when you're 9 years old now, you can pick what sex you are. Like everything is done from a text of perversion. The fact that we on here, some people could look at certain things as perversion. At the end and beginning of the day, we have to stop naming the struggle and attaching to it. Like
right?
we are way bigger than a struggle. It's time to hey, it's time we everyone in the world should be doing the best. If you are
Right.
living today, you are living in the best time. The world is changing.
Yeah.
It is changing.
Yeah.
The gifts that you've always known that you had, you
Yeah.
connect with certain people, they're gonna sharpen those gifts. Certain people will take those gifts away from you. They'll sap
Right.
the energy.
Right.
Hey, we living in great times,
Yeah.
and yeah, hey, what she said, hey, God body was profound.
Absolutely. But I think the part that probably resonated the most and just gave me fire in my belly was we why are we not just demanding? Why am I just why as a person am I expected to just have exhaustion as a personality instead of demanding that life be easy? Because we are creating our own reality, right? We're all here on
Yeah,
earth, school. We all signed up for this lesson.
Yeah.
All get to choose how it molds us, right? We don't get to pick what
Yeah.
happens, we just get to pick how we respond. And if we look at life as a game, right? We all love games of some sort, maybe video games, board games, whatever. Mind games, some of us, you know what I mean? Like there's games afoot pretty much anywhere you look. If we choose to see life as a game that we're always winning, even if it feels like I'm trying to beat the boss on hard, man, I have to play the level over and over and over again. It's fine because I'm still winning. I'm still winning. I get to pick that. I get to say, what's my prescription for life? That the game is always one I'm winning and it never
Yeah.
stops. I'm playing. Even when it doesn't feel like it, I will choose to embody energy that says I'm winning. And
All
that's
right.
key. Being able to hold that in space, that's a whole nother story. How do you do that? You can feel that for a second, especially when you're firing on all cylinders, especially when you're roller skating and you're not falling, especially when your kite is in the air and the wind couldn't be catching it better. Okay, I can get with that. When you're stepping in a pile of poo, does it really feel like you're winning? Somehow I am. Maybe it kept me from stepping out in the street and getting knocked by a UPS truck. You know what I mean? I'm always
Yeah.
winning. Always winning.
Nah, for real.
Yeah.
For real. And I think this is the space where if you want to break invisible barriers, I think it's important to be able to tell your story for exactly the way it is. Whatever God is, scripts everything perfectly. There's no mistakes in it. So there's lessons all through life that you should have learned. You should have
Right.
learned. The person that you might didn't meet a person for one thing, but you looked at it from the flesh. You didn't look at it from the spirit. Learn to trust the spirit. Certain
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, what is spirit?" Spirit is where I say there's disagreeables and then there's agreeables. Some
Right.
people might say spirit is Jesus. Some people might say the spirit is the thing that whatever runs your blood, your heartbeat, whatever automation makes your heart do this and runs through your blood, whatever intelligence that is, they might call it spirit. But the communication could be the same. So everybody could think that it's really the same thing. So if it is the same thing and someone calls it the same, but somebody else says, no, that's Jesus and you're calling it this, my God is different than your God, then you
That's
have
another,
clashes.
it's another
Uh-huh.
invitation from the Matrix for us to be divided.
Another
All the
invitation,
another invitation. Your
another image.
invitation. That's the invisible barrier, right? The
That's the
perpetual.
invisible barrier.
Yeah, the
There
perpetual.
we go.
I invite you to identify as someone who doesn't fit in. I invite you to identify as a Christian so that you can admonish others for not being a Christian. I invite
Yeah,
you to identify as a straight heterosexual individual so that you can admonish others for not being heterosexual. I invite you to stand in your masculinity so that you can admonish, others who might be male but also identifying as female. There's so many invitations. I invite you to put a pound of makeup on your face every day so that you can appear pretty and get external validation.
yeah.
L'Oreal, I invite you, I invite you. And it's everywhere. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm grateful for the invitation so that I can politely decline, decline,
Hey,
decline,
hey,
decline.
that's real because I think there's a superpower in being able to see the invitation and being able to decline it. Like, and
Yeah.
because some people don't know when the invitations is there and they'll disagree. They'll try to man, they'll pick arguments with the greatest, with the greatest. Hey, but here, Court Ray, she has a question. I have a random question. Is the retrograde over? Because, ooh, God, body, word life. Hey, no cap, no cap. Hey,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, so not quite, but we're getting there. And I think the important thing to focus on maybe and retrogrades, I think, amplify transition. Transition's always happening, right? Retrograde might make your transition a little less comfortable, but we're always transitioning. Our bodies replace every cell in them once every 7 years. There's constant motion. We're never still. Even if we feel like it, we're never stagnant, just like we're never alone. What I would invite you to do is love on yourself harder during the retrograde. Like if you indulge in things like Palmer's coconut oil or, pho, sushi, or I don't know, a big cheeseburger. Do one of those things when the retrograde is reaching a fever pitch and feeling like I can't take another minute. That's my recommendation.
Real
Self
talk.
self
Yeah,
love.
she says I do agree. Transitions are always happening straight up. Hey, that's definitely what I can agree with.
Yeah.
Change is gonna happen. Transitions are gonna happen.
Yeah.
So, hey, l- right now, right now, learn to go with what you know is correct.
Yeah.
Like, if your spirit is saying, "Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Like, we can't be like kids. Like kids. If someone's married, this is shout out to you or whatever relationship you have. There's so many different relationships: mother and father, son and mother, brother and sister. There's different, but if you have to respect all of these relationships, be around people that know there's a tribe. You have to respect all of these relationships. The Matrix tells you that, hey, one relationship is more important than all the other relationships. You better say it. You better say that this relationship is the most important. And you say, no, all of these relationships are important. And they say,
Yeah.
oh, no, 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 no. This is the trap. These are the barriers
Yeah.
that she's talking about that we have to break. Um, we have been given so many things that will stop us from building a community. Somebody say, hey, they're black and you're white.
Right.
You look at those people though, and you say, damn, that person's not black. The scarf is black. That
Right.
person's not a white person, but the stripes
Right.
and the shirts are white.
Right. Right.
It's the Matrix. It's the
It's another,
Matrix.
yeah, it's another identifying piece for the vessel, right? The spirit energy that runs through all of us, the divine, the God spirit, all of that is the same. And the shell that we choose to wrap ourselves in gives us the ability to experience the 3D, right? As opposed to just staying spirit energy.
Yeah.
But to associate with that, again, it's like the invitations from our external environment to shrink ourselves down or love ourselves less, or represent mask, represent as something different than we are. We can acknowledge it, and then we can also understand that it is a sliver of the pie, a tiny sliver of the pie that I don't have to identify with. Yes, it is who I am. I love who I am. Doesn't mean that's all of who I am. What is it beyond that? And court fireball does count as self-care. As long everything in moderation, right? Good student,
Oh
bad master.
shit. She say
Um,
fireball.
but yeah,
So that's it, huh?
fireball counts. It counts. But yeah, I think
I
though,
say,
what is right for each of us is to be determined by us, right?
yeah.
And the most important relationship we have that we often are not mindful of because we are perpetually invited to dissociate with ourselves. How do we feel about us? That's one of my
Yeah.
biggest questions for any person I meet in life. I love every creature, every human, every plant, everything on this planet. I don't care what any of them think about me. It's none of my business. That's their
Hey,
business.
real talk.
What's my business is how I feel about me. What's my business if I'm going to enjoy your company, if I'm going to be in your orbit at all? How do you feel about you? Because how you feel about you is a complete dictator for how you're going to treat me. And if you don't like you can't like me.
No. I mean, if you don't like you, you're probably not gonna like anybody.
If you
You
don't like
probably
hanging out with yourself,
Man, the only time you will like somebody if you don't like you, and this is real life, is if it's paying you. If there's money involved, if you go to work, then you can deal with people. But when you get off work, you're a whole different species, a whole different being. And
yeah,
this is the problem. Yeah, like I said, if we want to deal with real human beings, we have to understand that no, no, number one, like I say, it's not with trial. I can be around somebody that's been through any type of trial, but however, it's not it's how you respond to the trial. Like, do you respond to it? Like, I understand this: when you exercise, certain muscles begin to hurt, and you want to give up. But
right.
if you keep going, you're like, damn, you'll start loving the way it feels, and it's
Enjoy
like,
the pain. Enjoy the pain.
man,
You know what it will do for you.
and
Right.
that feeling will make everything tense up. It'll make
Yeah.
you you'll upgrade to a
Yes.
different being.
Right.
So if you embrace those things that hurt when you're young,
Yeah.
um, they hurt in certain parts of life, certain mistakes you made, you embrace those mistakes. Say, you know why I embrace those mistakes? Because I learned from them. They
Yeah.
weren't mistakes, they were lessons. This is where we're at in 2025. There will be so many things that happen this year that say, stop. quit. You have to have the
Yeah.
perseverance to say, you know what?
Yeah.
People are my biggest resource. There's
Yeah.
always somebody. There's always somebody that has something that I don't have.
Right.
So I can learn from these people. Not I can get money from these people, or I can find a way to get over these people. I can be like P Diddy, and hey, I'm a billionaire. I'm yeah.
The
Like
rules
in
don't
the
apply.
end of the day,
Yeah.
yeah. Like we got to be different. Courtney laughing right here. I'm saying what she say. She say LMAKK knows me and my father. Y'all's opinion on Jasmine Crockett going in on Donald's and her opinion for marrying a white woman. What is she talking about?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I firmly am rooted in the belief that what we say and think and do has very little to do with other people and everything to do with us.
Yeah.
The four agreements is don't take things personally. If I were in Byron's shoes, I would understand anybody looking at that situation that,
Mm.
the way that Jasmine Crockett feels is a representation of what's going on in her world. And she's, sharing it with everyone, and there's an inherent risk, you know what I mean, is sharing your opinion and that people are going to disagree and agree with you. And so I think she's brave for sharing her opinion, but also recognizing the fact that her opinion is a representation of what's going on with her and not Mr. Donald's. You know what I mean? So,
So having an opinion, should you be able to get your opinion off your chest,
well,
or,
that's part of. I mean,
or should you
as
hug?
we
Yeah.
are Americans, and the Fourth Amendment, the freedom of speech, like absolutely, especially because there's a lot of if people weren't listening, then she wouldn't share her opinion. There's a lot of cause for her, you know what I mean? Like she has an audience. She's not yelling into a void. She's talking to her public, and yeah, absolutely. We wouldn't be here having this conversation right now if the Fourth Amendment wasn't a thing. You know what I mean? And people might disagree with our opinions, and should they be able to come along and tell us that what we're saying is too controversial?
Hell to the
I
no.
right. I will be
No.
saying controversial
For
things.
real.
So.
Yeah.
It
For
isn't, as
real.
long as they're not hurting anybody. That to me, that was always one of the tenets of life. If I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and as long as I'm not hurting myself or anybody else, and that's obvious. It does. Rocket science is not required to understand. Am I hurting another person? Right? And as a white woman who prefers African American men, that's a topic for me that to it's a sensitive. I definitely have a lot of feelings. Right? I want to be respectful of every human being. But I also like what I like.
Oh,
So
that's your preference.
it is my preference.
Okay. See, I didn't know that. Like, you never know from time to time
Right.
um who you're speaking. You don't know what's behind the veil of people. So
Right.
in 2025, that's what I say. I would think a challenge to people to just whatever you consider being yourself, whatever molded you to be who you are, be able to say that and be the best at whatever you are, the best.
Right.
Like I think the most honest you could be. Like I said, let me go here. There are a lot
Yeah.
of people. There are a lot of people in relationships, right? What you call relationships, where they are miserable, and they are miserable because there's something that happened to somebody when they were younger, or somewhere in life where they got dismissed or they felt a certain way. And certain things that happen within that dynamic of when you live with another person is making them feel that way, that similar way often. And they keep going back. But until they actually face whatever it was and say, you know what, that never was true. I was just smaller than
Right.
developing, developing, and I couldn't defend myself. I
Right.
couldn't, I couldn't talk back, or I didn't have the proper words to say, or whatever it is. We have to break these barriers. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think.
because they're not even real.
Right.
90% of the things that we go through, it's like, you know what? Somebody might say, hey, I don't know how I'm gonna pay my phone bill next week. But next week hasn't got here yet.
Right.
Secretly, God has always made a way. By the time
Yeah.
your phone bill gets here, God
Yeah.
has made a way and provided your phone bill every single time. But for
Right.
some reason, your mind keeps saying, "Fuck, my phone bill is not going to get paid." So you stressed, you pulling your hair out, you doing all the weird shit you can do in this world, and you only to realize for what? What was I worried about this whole time? This matrix has this trick. It has
It is
certain
conditioned.
people have billions of dollars.
Yes.
Certain people don't have $2.
Yeah, and well, I mean, money, like time,
It's
religion,
trickery.
constructs of man. Again, something a mechanism of control, right? If I invent money and I make you feel like you have to go earn it, and then I can keep you in this little, pretend cage. We're all in a little box, not able to really feel freedom, right? To live, to seek our desires to the next joyous moment. Like that's what we came here to do. We came to Earth School and inhabited flesh mobiles, little machines of humanness in the
Yeah,
3D, so that we could experience joy, not so that we could toil away and sacrifice our energy, our abundant, precious, valuable, rich energy to line somebody else's pockets with pretend money. It's like it's fun, right? If it's fun, but it's not like that's not how we. I read a meme that said, we could create it any reality we wanted to, and we created debt and depression and like the misogyny, right? Like what? And so it's just okay. Well, acknowledging that, going back to the video, acknowledging that doesn't mean that I have to then identify and go, "Woe is me for the rest of my days. This is how I am. This is what it will." We don't have to. We can. One of my tools for overcoming adversity, right? Like we may
yeah,
have grown up with, confused parents, underprivileged, right? We may have had people who yelled at us or, weren't so nice in ways. They deserve love and forgiveness too. They were doing the best they could with the tools and resources they had at the time to be whom they were supposed to be, assigned to be to us. And that includes strangers. That includes the guy who cut you off in traffic. You know what I mean? He was doing the best that he could with the tools and resources of the time. Was he an asshole? Sure. Excuse me. Was he a jerk? Sure. Um, does
yeah,
that mean that you then have to carry that jerk energy, home to the wife or, into
yeah.
work to the coworkers?
Real
No,
tough.
you can bless you. I hope you get there safely. Not
Yeah,
to be southern and like the
right.
backhanded bless you. No, bless your heart. No, no,
Yeah.
really, genuinely, I hope that you get where you're going. And I'm really glad that we're both okay with the way that you were just driving, sir. Blessings too,
So what do you think about this? I had to throw this out there because yeah, it said Court Ray say a lot of time, especially us as women, make things way bigger than we should.
We
What do
can't.
you think? What do you think about that? Do women
Yeah.
make things? Do women make things a bigger deal than they should?
I
Yeah,
wholeheartedly agree. I wholeheartedly agree, and I'll tell you why I believe it happens. We have portals to the other side of the universe in our bodies that gives us abundant energy, especially of the hormonal type. And we are very passionate creatures. And we're also living in a society that I'll be bold and say stands on our necks. So sometimes we feel voiceless, and sometimes if we don't yell, we are not heard in a room of white men specifically, but strong opinions, behold,
hey, that's crazy. You say of white men. I need to get some white men on here. I need some Indian men, some. I need some all type of different people
Yeah,
to come to the forum because I would think our lives are a lot more similar than we actually think that they are. Because I
I
think a
don't
lot of,
disagree, but I
because you
feel like
say us,
they got a lot
especially
of
as white
microphones.
women,
They get they
when I
get a, they get
discuss
the stage a lot.
when I discuss the history of white women or
Yeah,
white men, I think we need to go into the true history and nature of people, and you will see that origins go a lot of different places, but
yes,
they end
the
up in the
same
same
crossroad.
place. They
Yes,
end up in a crossroads where they're in the same place.
yes,
So so a lot of these things are, hey,
confirmation.
look,
Check that out.
I don't know.
Tons of
I don't
confirmation.
know if we are aliens. I sometimes question, hey, or look, to break these barriers. Are we aliens? Like someone has sperm that actually swims through someone's body. It so-called touches and finds the ovaries and the egg. Mysteriously, it makes an umbilical cord that's like a portal that actually goes into something that creates a child to be born. Like, hey, look, I mean, there are certain things that if you think about it too deeply, you would say, hey, what the hell? I mean, what are we? What
Yeah.
are we? But
Yeah.
if you ask that question from that point, where did it start at?
Yeah.
You will come with a lot of the
And
solutions that we need today.
yeah. If we're allowed to talk about it, the truth.
If if we're allowed to talk about it. But
Right.
that's the thing. And today we don't have to ask if we're allowed to talk about it. Today it's like you better talk
Tomlin
about it.
didn't ask either.
No, today it's like you better talk. Today it's like you better talk about it. You
Yeah.
better tell your story before somebody else is able to tell your. If you
It's
don't tell your story and somebody else tells it,
yeah.
that story could make you a criminal. That story could make you all different type of things where you was like, hey, I had to survive, whatever it was. But it's like, hey, look at what you was born into. Look at what you made. You could have been a lot of things worse, but you here today, so you must be doing something right. I try
Right.
to look at what people have been. Let's start encouraging each other. If
Yeah.
it's not, hey, look, all of the barriers that you have been given and reasons that you could be broke, disagreeable with people, all these
Right.
different things, they don't exist. They're figments of your imagination. But
Yeah.
however, if you believe them,
Well, I don't
they will
know.
come true.
I'll say sometimes parts of life that were challenging, even though we experienced them with a different perspective and they felt way bigger than they do now. I it's scary to invalidate a feeling, right? Like it's a figment of your imagination. No, that shit was real when I got hit by that car. You know what I mean? Like I still feel the dent in my leg. That shit was real. Um, when bordering on coddling someone, right? Like they're the compassion and love, right? Just shy of that intersection of like, okay, now giving you permission to like wallow in your feelings so that you can relive that over and over and over again because we're the worst culprits of trauma because we experience a terrible situation one time and then we think about it and 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 we keep thinking about it, reinforcing
That's
those
what women do.
right. People in general, we think about our trauma, right? Like if I think about Becky was rude to me, Becky called me a brat, you know what I mean? Like, and I keep thinking about how Becky called me a brat. Well, first of all, what Becky says about me is not a definition of who I am. If I'm identifying with that, I need to evaluate, well, A, why did Becky say that? And B, what am I doing to enforce that opinion of me that she has? Like but
Okay,
I can't
okay.
just sit
So
there and be
hold on.
mad that Becky called me a brat.
Fuck that. This is the question I have with women. With women, this is real, and I have to ask this. I have
Okay.
to ask this of women in general. If I'm telling somebody something and I'm cussing them out and I go off, and then they respond to what I'm saying, why do I get to act like I'm a woman? I didn't just cuss you out, and then you responded and said this. Why is it like, oh, you hurt my feelings? I can't believe how you're talking to me, but you don't hear what you said to cause the reaction that the person had.
I think that's
Like,
rooted in a lack of empathy, right? A lack of compassion for how you are experiencing things. All I can experience, and honestly, I'll tell you, I'm going to
yeah,
say a bold thing here as well. Narcissists will never ever absorb anything that you say to them. So within the conversation, if you're having high emotions, and instead of somebody coming and being like, "I am so sorry that you feel that way, and it sucks that you're experiencing that," they come back at you with the same energy that you gave them. A, you gave them the energy to begin with, so let's take some accountability. But
yeah,
B, there's a certain subset of the population that no matter how true, accurate, valid, legitimate your statements and your feelings and your high emotion are, I'm sorry, you're the problem. Like that's just how they're going to respond to you. And honestly, again, you got to take accountability for what you're attracting to yourself, right? If you want a person who responds to moments of high emotion with tenderness, compassion,
yeah.
grace, that's what you have to emit. Right.
Yeah, you have to, because this world doesn't give a shit. This world doesn't care. The world that we in, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
it doesn't. It
It's
doesn't
wild
care.
because kindness is free. Kindness, smiles, compassion, love, that shit is free. You can give that without putting yourself in a situation of being vulnerable. And so when all those things can come at no cost to us, if we're careful with them, how we wield them, it's amazing how there's not more of it out there. But it's by
Yeah,
design that we acknowledge and then dismiss.
yeah.
Not
I
my
think. Yeah, I think it's time to take the journeys and things that we have come across to this world. It's time to really break those invisible barriers, and it's time to upgrade. Like whatever we call God, whatever you call spirit, it doesn't matter. Jesus, uh, um, Yahshua, Yahweh, whatever you praise, it doesn't matter. To me, it's all the same. I try to find out more of likeness than what's different. Some
yes,
people try to find out more about what's different, what they worship and what you don't. You know, we're all agreeables, disagreeable, but at certain times, I think about things like Hawaii. What
yeah,
happened in Hawaii? There was a fire that was so hot that the only thing people could do was run to the ocean and jump in the ocean to try not to feel this immense heat that was traveling at a very high rate of speed. So at the end of the day, those people, when you had to grab somebody's child and say, "Hey, let's come on, let's get in the ocean," and you had to grab, you didn't ask what religion they were. You
right.
didn't ask what gang or what
No.
color you
How
didn't,
much
or
money
what
do you have in
political
your bank?
affiliation.
Yeah, none of
You
that.
didn't do you didn't do any of that. So
Are
so
you
why not live day to day with that same urgency? If you
right?
don't know somebody, why not treat them like it's urgent?
Like you treat
God,
yourself,
God got me here today. So whatever I'm supposed to know from this person, it was meant. Let's make the best out of it.
right?
Whatever people are around you, they are supposed to be around you for a specific reason. I don't care if it's your cat. I don't care if it's your dog. I don't care if it's just the wind blows. While you thinking about something, the wind starts blowing hard. It is
Right.
a sign specifically dealt for you. Pay attention. Pay
Mm-hmm.
attention and watch your world evolve.
Yeah.
And it could be from a way of you playing the right lottery ticket at the right time. You might say, "Hey, shit, that meant play the lottery."
Yeah.
You go in and play, and ching ching, you like, "Whoa, fuck, the universe is on something totally different for me." It's time to upgrade.
For
We-
sure.
we- yes, like we have this magnetic energy where, hey, your divine energy, no matter what word, specific word people put on it, there's a divineness there with your energy. Don't let the world
Right.
don't let the world minimize what you're capable of. Don't let the world tell you, "Hey, you're a black male. Well, one third of you end up in jail, and this is your future or your let don't let someone tell you that
Yeah.
this person is white. That can't be the person that might help you get to a certain place. Like we don't have these limitations in this world. They are told to us, we believe it, and then we make it come true.
Right.
This is the real way of
Reinforce
having it.
it. Right. And we kind
Yes, we'll,
and it just sometimes takes the right person that smiles at you with a brilliant light inside of them and sees you, for who you are and not what the matrix tells you to be, that can invite you to believe that. It is scary, honestly. Sometimes it can feel very lonely. But it's essential, to understanding that there is a choice we have to be able to stand in our power. We have to own it. We have to understand that we are creating our reality and take ownership of that obligation. We have to be accountable. With great power comes great responsibility, right?
you better take ownership. In today's day in 2025, you better fucking take ownership of your life. Like you better
Yeah.
take ownership and say, "Hey, this person is for me. These people that I have, this tribe that I have around me is a whole organization. They are all for me. It ain't one person around me that's not for me."
Right.
This is the energy that we have to be carrying because there's a lot of the deck stacked against you.
Yes.
There's a lot of things stacked against you.
I
There's so
welcome.
much stacked against you.
Welcome,
But
child.
if
Yes.
a dog can be your best friend, Why
Yep.
can't the people around you be great friends?
Yep.
Hey, I don't care if there's a married couple. I don't care if the couple has children. I don't care whatever because I don't have any bad intentions for these people.
Right.
All my intentions are pure. So if all your intentions are pure around people, then things should grow. There should
Yeah.
not be disagreements. We might disagree, but we're going to only disagree to have a conversation. And
Right.
during that conversation, guess what we're going to have? An understanding.
Right.
Like
Respect.
anytime you're arguing and you can never come up with a solution, somebody's probably not looking for it. There's probably a barrier somewhere in what they think
Right.
this blocking a solution.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're rightfully looking for God and God is truth and God is one way, then you can always find a solution to whatever. There's
Yeah.
always somebody who can find the solution. So
Absolutely.
yeah, we're in here. We're talking about breaking invisible barriers and taking the shackles off of the matrix. This is just a podcast that we've got. We deep in and hey, it's late tonight, but hey,
Yeah.
we appreciate everybody to tap in for the God or Siren. Do you have any closing statements?
Oh, enjoy this new year. The spring is the season of new beginnings. And make sure that you're loving on yourselves throughout, because you deserve it. You're worth it.
God body. God body. Hey, and my closing statements will be, hey, breaking the barriers strictly means this. For me, for me personally in life, this is you know what? I'm gonna let everyone in the world into something that I would not normally say. I have been the one in life to generally think, you know what? It is best for me to be around people that generally look like me, that act like me, certain things, but the universe has said, you know what? People that look like you were special people. They were chosen for certain things and forgot their mission. So it was their mission really to go help others and help others remember who they were too. And because they forgot this mission, they end up being not the clan, but just like the clan. They end up saying, hey, get that nigga, shoot that nigga down. The same way that you said the clan and these people were taught to do. That's why tonight was so important because you know what? I know that there could be somebody that looks different from me, but their soul says, you know what? No, we're chosen a different type way. This one is there will be all type of different people that look all type of different ways. And in this world, it will confuse you and misuse you, but you allow it to abuse you. At the end of the day and beginning of the day, to break the matrix, you have to know that it was a construct that was built. It was built. Once you become the perfect person that you are, it doesn't matter what type of body defect that you feel like you have. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about my this ear was born bigger than this ear. My face looks like this. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is that you're confident in whatever shell you came here in, whatever energy. That energy can make people be like, "Whoa!" And there's gonna some be people that hate the fact that you hold or possess whatever it is you hold. You don't even know what it is. But at the end of the day, to break this matrix, you embrace that shit. You embrace it to the fucking fullest. Embrace it. When you embrace that, everything else becomes natural. It becomes a certain way where the universe conspires to make your life different. And until then, this is nothing but the Raw Truth podcast. Knowledge is the key. Siren, we appreciate you guys, man. It's one love out there to the world. Y'all be steady. God body. Yeah.